My name is Sandy James, and I know some of you, and some of you I do not know, and I'm delighted to meet you all. You're here. I think I just lost my mic. Is that okay? You're here today for various reasons. First and foremost, because as your mayor, one of the priorities this year for me was reaching out to our young adults in the community and letting them know that we really do care, bringing them into the process, making them a part of government as well as a part of this community. And I've been working on that for a long time because I spent 8 years on the Cupertino School Board, probably when most of you were in elementary school and going through middle school. And the last 4 years on the City Council, that's been a huge priority of mine. And it's been frustrating for me, as it's probably been frustrating for you in some areas. In some areas we've done very well, and others not so well. I've been trying to get a skate park in this city for 5 years now. And we now have a location on the Compact property, but as they've just merged with HP, I'm not quite sure where that is. But as I went around the neighborhoods trying to find a location, I was disconcerted by the reaction I got from neighborhoods. And it took us a while to come together to that as a community. We have teenagers in the Fremont Union High School District who have served on the skate park committee with me for 2 years, who have faithfully come to monthly meetings and stayed with that project, and I think learned a lot about government, and certainly are a very important part of pulling that together. We've also been working on a teen center and something I want to do this year, which is a teen summit with the Sheriff's Department, and we have some representatives from the Sheriff's Department here today. I'm hoping as part of our conversation today, and most of the day is going to be those of us who are here listening to the young adults who came today to talk to us. But part of what I wanted to do was to get the Sheriff's Department and the teens to spend some time together, just casual time, one-on-one, talking about each other's jobs, feelings, concerns, in probably a half-day format. And we're working on that now, and I'm hoping maybe that part of you that are here today would like to be involved in that, and that would be part of one of the next steps we'll talk about later in the afternoon. I want to introduce a few people that are here today. We have Linda Silvius, who is with the Cornerstone Project, and you'll be hearing more from her. We also have someone from the Fremont Union High School District, and Bill is, what is your title these days?
Coordinator of Student and Community Services.
Coordinator of Student and Community Services, and I knew him back when he was at Cupertino High School. Skip, Sergeant Skip Servington, who is with the Santa Clara Sheriff's Department, and he's our community outreach officer. And many of you know probably our officer, she's school resource officer, Eileen Ferris. And we have a guest that just kind of popped in, Jeff Patno, who's on our planning commission. And Jeff went through the elementary and high school district, and when he heard about this said, you know, Sandy, I haven't been that long out of high school. Can I come and participate? And I'm delighted he's here today. Mary Ellen Chell is here. Mary Ellen, poke your head out there. She's the retired director of Cupertino Community Services, who now is a community activist doing a lot of different things. And Rick Kitson is our public information officer who helped me put this together today. I think we have someone from the YMCA in the back. And we had someone from the Chamber of Commerce who had to leave. I wanted some people here representing business, other agencies that deal with youth and young adult issues, as well as law enforcement in the high school district, so that they could hear what you have to say. As I've personally always been interested in issues and working with young people in our community. Oh, Therese Smith. Therese, you're just as little as the kids, so I didn't see you. Stand up. Therese is Director of Parks and Recreation for the city, so she represents all of the services we do have and the things we're working on. And here comes Jody Hansen from the Executive Director of the Cupertino Chamber of Commerce. Jody has to leave because she has some interviews to go to, but she is here representing the business community. And we will take all of your messages back, and we'll set up additional opportunities to address some of the concerns and some of the feelings that you have. In addition to my personal interest in this field, Linda came to me probably a few months ago with a project called the Cornerstone Project, along with Harry Betancourt from the high school district. And I had already heard about that from a former San Jose Mayor, Susan Hammer. And it was something I was very interested in. They asked if I would be willing to participate, and I said absolutely. I'm going to let Linda talk to you a little bit about what that project is, because I think a lot of you filled out the questionnaires and participated in it. The survey that went through our high school, our local high schools, and the information we got back, which basically told us that not very many of our young people feel they are valued by this community. And that's one of the reasons I invited you here today, to start a dialogue, an ongoing dialogue with the mayor and with your city representatives to see how we can help you become more involved and help you understand that we do really value you, and to build a better partnership between ourselves and other aspects of this community. So I'm going to introduce Linda Silvius from the Cornerstone Project.
Thank you, Sandy. And I'm going to introduce Nam Nguyen, who is one of our outreach specialists with the Cornerstone Project. And he's actually going to tell you what the Cornerstone Project is, and then I'm going to tell you a little bit about the survey and why we're actually here. Because there's one very strong focus that we're here for, and that's why all of you are here as young people, to share some stories with the adults that are here to listen. So, Nam, if you'd share a little bit about what Cornerstone is.
Okay, guys. Like Linda said, my name is Nam Nguyen. I've seen a lot of you and worked with a lot of you at the current student leadership retreat that we had, and I'm gonna be around a lot in Cupertino, so get used to my face. And I hope it's not, it's not too ugly for you guys. Okay, but basically, in a quick, little summary of what Cornerstone is we're collaborative of community leaders and organizations throughout Santa Clara County. What our goal is to help connect youth and adults in our community, and our approach to that comes from a nationwide research that has identified measurable set of experiences, relationships, and values in our young people that we call assets. We know that the more assets that a young person has, the more likely he or she will become successful as an adult. As champions of change, we want to ensure that our communities, individuals, businesses, and organizations, and government embrace the fact that every interaction with the young person is an opportunity to build a stronger adult. These assets are measured through a survey that your mayor just sort of introduced, and that survey was conducted in a lot of middle schools and high schools throughout Santa Clara County, which all 3 high schools in Cupertino participated in. So these are responses coming from the actual voices of you guys. And so it's good to see you guys here, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys have to say. And right now I'm going to turn this over to Linda, that's going to talk to you more about the survey results.
Thanks, Tom. This brochure, which I know all you students already have, but for the adults in the audience, either here or at home, we're going to leave some of these at the front desk here at City Hall, because this does describe a little bit about the Cornerstone Project, gives you the website, how to contact us. It also tells you about that research base, and it also, on the inside, lists those assets. There are 40 of them, and we're going to focus on one here today, just one of the 40. The schools are already focusing. The students at the Student Leadership Conference already began to plan some activities for this year to talk about creating more caring schools, where they feel more cared about, where they show more caring towards their teachers and vice versa, and where they care about each other. But the focus here today is around what's called asset number 7, which is called Community Values Youth. And the definition of that is young person perceives that adults in the community value youth. In Santa Clara County, this gives you the results of all 7,000 students that took the survey throughout the county. And only 15% of the young people that took the survey back in the fall of '99 felt that they were valued by adults in their community. What is standing out more with Cupertino, and why I approached Mayor James in the first place, was that the results of Cupertino were even lower than that. All 3 of the high schools in Cupertino had scores that were lower than that from the standpoint of asset number 7. Actually, they were the lowest in the county. So something's wrong, and we wanted to find a way to make the connection between adults, because we know adults in Cupertino care. And we know young people want to be cared about and need to be cared about. So how do we get that puzzle piece so it fits again? The survey does not just say, do you feel valued in your community? I want to share what those questions are, because they sort of frame the stories, I think, that our students will share with us today. The survey asks 4 questions that actually make up asset number 7. And these are those 4 questions. Adults in my town or city make me feel important. Adults in my town or city listen to what I have to say. Adults in my town or city don't care about people my age. And in my town or city, I feel like I matter to people. Now, as I began doing some work with these 3 schools last spring, it became very clear that they had some very real stories to tell and some very real life experiences to share with adults that might represent some of the sectors of the community that could, I think, gain some value just from hearing those stories and then looking at how do we plan to make some shifts and to make some changes. An asset-building community has to think and act intergenerationally. What the survey told us is that isn't happening in Cupertino. So we want to see that change. And I think that there's probably 50 young people here today that are ready to share the stories of not only themselves, but their peers. So I'm going to turn it back to you, because I know they have stories. They shared some of them with me in school a week or so ago, and they're very real and very poignant. So they're all yours.
Thank you, Linda. I want to just place a few things so everybody knows where we are today. This would not be my choice for us sit down, let's get to know each other and chat. You're sitting there, I'm standing here. But the reason we're doing it here today was this was the day and the time that you were all available. And we have a city council meeting tonight, so we're all set up for that. And I really wanted the community to hear what you had to say, and we're able to tape it here. So while I think it's a little stilted, and I hope we can get over that real quickly, I'd rather we all be sitting on the floor or kind of hunkering down and being a little more casual. The value for me was that, yes, I want to hear this. These people sitting here need to hear this, but the people out there need to hear what you have to say, and they need to see what our young people are all about. I deal with you all the time. I know who you are, and I hear you, and it's just very impressive. But a lot of people in this community do not have the advantage of interacting with our young adults the way I do. So we're here, as I said, in a venue that I probably wouldn't have chosen were I to choose it, but I hope you understand I did this, first of all, to let you know how important this is to us. You are in the city council chambers. You are on television. And I think that's to show you right up front that we value your input and so that everybody gets to hear what you have to say. But as we move to the next steps and we have additional meetings, we'll do it in a little more casual way, unless you like this one best. So, and also for people that are watching, I want to make sure they know that, the Fremont Union High School District, and by the way, I graduated from the Fremont Union High School District, from Fremont High School, has schools in 5 cities, I believe. We have invited, because this is the city of Cupertino at this time at least, the high schools from the three high schools in Cupertino, which are Monte Vista, Cupertino High School, and Homestead. So that's who is represented here today. Having said that, I think the best people to speak about what your concerns, your interests, your suggestions are all of you. So Rick is going to take this portable mic and take it to the audience. And we also have this mic you can speak to, and I'm going to take a different one. And I'm going to ask you to be real honest with us and up front. Does that work? Oh, okay. Can you hear me okay? All right. But before we start, there's something I forgot to do that I think is really important. This is Monday, the 17th of September, and less than a week ago, something happened in our country that changed all our lives. And you as young people are going to live with that even longer than those of us who are a bit older. It certainly changed my life, and it's a little difficult to really focus on other things right now, although I think it's important we do that. But I did want to acknowledge that, and I did think before we started, maybe we should take a moment to just, in our own way, reach out and send those messages we need to send to recognize and acknowledge the people who died a week ago. And I know your feelings about the issues you're going to talk about today may be hard to reach down, grab out from the inside of you and chew on them. But I do encourage you to do that. because I do think this is an opportunity for the community to pull together and to get to know who they are as a community as well as who we are as individuals. So who wants to be real brave and start us off? And I'm going to have a couple people scribing. We're going to take notes about what you talk about. So if we write something that you don't think really represents your feeling, please let us know. And then we will be getting that information back to the people in the areas of your concerns. And at the last half hour of today, we'll be talking with you as a group about what are the next steps, where we go from here.
Madam Mayor, if I can add, just for process and to help me, if you can raise your hand if you have something to add, we'll ask you to stand up, state your first name and the school you're from.
Yeah. And we'd like you to stand up so we can see you and hear you better. Who wants to start?
Hi, my name is Jen. I go to Cupertino High School. I'm a senior this year. Basically, this is a story that I heard from one of the members at my school, and basically she went to a store in one of the expensive, an expensive store in one of the malls, and the way that she was treated, she and her friend, basically, she was walking around, looking around, and people were following her. Like the store, people around were following her and basically like making sure that she wasn't stealing anything. And the way that she explained to me, that she just felt so degraded by that feeling, and especially when she went in a week later with her parents, and the treatment that she got was completely different than what she had originally got. And that just shows like how young people, they just don't get the same kind of respect that we should, deserve. It's not like we're troublemakers. It's not like, we are willing to steal or anything, but it's just the respect factor.
Thank you. And you're saying that was because of her age?
Yeah, and that's
not
exactly
because
what
of any
she felt.
activity on her part?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Who's next?
Hi, my name is Rosalie. I'm from Monta Vista. I'm also a senior. Actually, I have something positive I wanted to let you guys know that I work in an office, and the feeling you get when working in an office is different from, I guess, the experiences you get at a mall. Sometimes, I understand there are a lot of adults, I know that there are a lot of youths that are troublemakers that, do things, but I think, we all need to realize that people make decisions, but that doesn't make them who they are, and I think that well, for me, from personal experience, working in an office has been really good. They treat me like I'm equal, that I can take on work because I'm not 5, but I'm 17. I'm able to take on work, and they know that I can take on that responsibility, As well as another thing, last year I was able to participate in every 15 minutes, and because of that, I was able to interact with many different adults, those that worked, with the ambulances or, with the sheriff's office. But the way I was treated was good, because they knew I was in a program that benefited them, benefited us, benefited our friends, right? And because of that, I was able to conversate with them. We had good conversations. But something that stuck out in my mind was that it wasn't, the people that were there, but I know that other situations outside of programs, when cops see, students who, like jaywalking or, or they're walking and, they're cutting out of school, the automatic instinct is to, they're making trouble, I need to show that I'm the sheriff, I'm in control, and I understand that you guys are doing your job, and that's totally important to us. But at the same time, I think we need to realize that just a simple smile, just the beginning thing, how you treat them in the beginning really changes everything. If you treat them with respect, then, the kids will, most kids may not smile back at sheriffs, but to a certain extent, we will, we'll give you the respect, We won't be dogging at you or anything. Or, okay, I don't know if I should use that word. We won't be staring at you in an evil way. But and just another thing, it all starts with a smile, and I think that's really important, We understand that businessmen are really busy, but a lot of times it's just so simple. You don't have to take, 5 minutes out of your day to conversate with us. It's just, all you have to do is nod, say hi, and that's about it.
Thank you. And it sounds like one of the examples or two of the examples you gave is that when people mingle and work with our teens, the understanding and the acceptance is much better than if they don't get to do that. So, and for those of you that don't know, Every 15 Minutes is a wonderful program. It's a partnership with the Sheriff's Department and the city, emergency services, and the schools that brings a Don't Drink and Drive program, very extensive program to the schools, much too long to go into now, but a wonderful program that, that I've certainly been part of for a long time. Who's next?
Hi, my name is Kristen. I go to Homestead. I'm a junior this year. Kind of on the same note of working, where I work, I'm a lifeguard, and I have to deal with a lot of adults and kids on an everyday basis. And I kind of get both ends of the adults. There are lap swimmers, and one of the rules in our pool is no diving. But the adults constantly dive in. They seem to think that the rule is an exception to them, and I constantly have to tell them not to, and they kind of just blow me off. And in the case where something will happen and I'll have to tell their kids, they're not allowed to do that, sometimes parents will be like, well, why not? I don't understand. That doesn't make sense. And when I try to explain it to them, I feel sometimes like they don't, like they look at me like, well, you don't know what you're talking about. You're just a teenager. And then, if I go and get my boss and bring her out, she can say the same thing, and they'll be like, oh, okay, I understand. And to me, it's just sometimes it's difficult to try to talk to parents, and sometimes I don't even want to say anything just because I don't want to have to deal with, like, going and getting my boss because they're not listening to me, and, But on the same line, sometimes I do get the adults who are really cooperative and are just very helpful to me, and I tell them something and they are more than happy to follow what I have to say. So I kind of get both lines of that, but yeah.
Okay, so you're talking more about a respect for the job or the position you have, regardless of your age.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Lynn. I'm also a senior at Cupertino. First, I'd like to say thanks for having us all. This is really something that would make us feel valued. I think something that we might want to consider about people our age not feeling valued in the city is I don't feel that there are many places where I can go, like casual settings, where I can just go with my friends in the city and just kind of maybe mingle, do our homework, because a lot of times when you go, like Jen mentioned, people will look at you differently, or it'll be considered loitering or causing a disruption. And when I went overseas, I noticed that the atmosphere was completely different because they knew that we are the market, they treated younger people with more respect, and people could just stay and have a cup of coffee and do their homework and hang out with their friends, and it wouldn't be a problem. But here, I don't feel that it's really like that. There aren't very many places that you do feel valued and comfortable as a young customer.
Okay, thank you. That's very good input.
Hi, I'm Tamara, and I'm a senior at Cupertino as well. I wanted to kind of add my story about a couple of my friends from work. One of my friends, she works at just a Hollywood video, and a lot of the times, a lot of people come in with late fees, and a lot of the adults think that just because she's a teenager working there, she doesn't know that just because, it says late fee on the screen, that they think that she's just trying to get some more money off of them. And a lot of the time she feels a lot less respect, and she feels that they are looking down at her because of her age. And just one more story. One of my other friends, she works at a gym, and one day her friend, he's kind of short, and he's a teenager, and he was teaching the class that day, and a lot of the parents came to complain, why is this kid teaching the class? Because why isn't an adult supervising it? There were supervisors, but why is this kid teaching our little kids, gymnastics? They didn't think just because he was a kid, he knew as much as some other adults might. So I know that feeling was really degrading to them.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Esther. I'm junior at Monte Vista. I know some schools do not have this problem, but as Monte Vistian, we have a problem, especially junior, for parking permit space around the neighborhood. I'm a junior. I have a sister who's freshman, and her friends. I have to drive them around. But if you live around Monte Vista, there's a lot of traffic, especially on Wednesday, because of Lincoln starting at 9 o'clock, and also Monte Vista started this new block schedule. This is our first year. And the traffic goes all the way down to Stevens Creek. It's so makes me mad in a way because I'm always tardy to school on Wednesdays. And sometimes I know some of my friends were in the parking committee at Monte Vista, and it has failed because the neighborhood, they said their house price is dropping and they don't want kids to park because we'll ruin their house, their gardens, or some various reason. But I have talked to some neighbor, tried to get a parking space at their house, like going one-on-one, asking them after school. And their response was like, oh, you're a Monte Vista student. I don't trust teenagers. And I'm just telling their situation. I come from where it's Nob Hill. I come from where Nob Hill place. And then I tell them, oh, I have to pick up my sisters and my friends and stuff. I really need a space to park near Monte Vista. And near this parking space right now is near Orange, at the end of the Orange Avenue. That's where most of juniors park because that's the residential place that they don't care that much. And I have to go through this thing with neighborhood at Monte Vista saying they don't trust us because we're a teenager and we're gonna do something bad. Not that we will do something bad. Maybe some people will, but not most of us. We just want a parking space that will take care of this traffic problem for all the neighborhood near the Monte Vista. And this totally shows how community values us. If community did value us, this wouldn't be a problem. As from my perspective, this wouldn't cause anything, and it wouldn't have caused all the neighborhood yelling at each car saying, go faster, go faster. So this is just a story that I had to go through, and it just totally shows from the survey Cornerstone that community, in a way, they do not value us in a way. So,
the Monte Vista parking situation, we have been working on that for over a year now. And I commiserate with you. I absolutely agree with you. It's been very distressing to see what's happened in our community. I want you to know that the city has opened the Blackberry Farms parking lot to the students and the teachers, and it's available to anybody that wants to use it. And it is only 2 blocks from school, so it's not that far to walk. And so there is parking available. It's an example, though, of what started out as a wonderful idea with students such as yourself and your friends and administrators from the high school district, people from the city, and the neighbors talking about how do we take care of this. And traffic and parking at Monte Vista has always been an issue, but with the renovations going on now, it's a crisis. It's no longer an issue, it's a crisis. And all these cars are thrown out on the street, and if you listen to city council meetings, which you probably don't, or if you read the Courier, which hopefully you do since there's a reporter from the Courier in the back here, hi George, it has been a big problem, and we have had this room packed numerous times in city council meetings with people not very happy with us and bringing their own ideas and suggestions. And I thought that pilot program was outstanding. It worked real well, and then it turned out that the neighbors really didn't like it after all. It is now a voluntary program, so it's still in place, but it's less successful. And it is an example of I am sure, where the teenagers do not feel like they are valued or cared for. And one of the things I can suggest to you that would really help, and we'll get more to next steps later, is to make yourself known better than you do to the adults in your community. Because whether you know it or not, a lot of adults are scared of you guys. You dress different than they do. You listen to different music. You talk loud. You drive a little faster. You do a lot of the things they did at your age. But they're kind of scared of you. They really are. Until they get to know you. And then most of the time they like you a lot. So there is a need for you to reach out and make yourself known also. But that is a perfect example of a real problem. We're working real close with the high school district trying to come up with some new solutions for that too. But it definitely is an issue. Please get the word out to everybody at school that the parking lot at Blackberry Farms is available and open. The city has signs up stating that, and we've offered it numerous times to the school district as well as to the students. Next.
Hi. Wow. My name is Shannon Dudley, and I'm a senior at Cupertino also. And I just wanted to add to something that she said, is that a lot of the adults in the community like, not at Cupertino, because a lot of the neighbors are supporting of our school, but they complain a lot about how, you know, like, the school and stuff, the kids parking will lower their prices on their house and stuff. And the main reason why their houses are why their property is worth so much is because, like, the school, like, most of our schools in Cupertino are some of the best schools in the Bay Area. And so for them to say, you know, well, we don't want you to do this because you're going to lower our property. I mean, like, we're the reason why your property is at such a high price. And also I wanted to add that that when adults disrespect us, I think that it's more than just us getting angry and us just getting mad and, you know, wanting to rebel. I think it's about, it really hurts. Like, it really tears down our self-esteem when people don't trust us. Because then, you know, you don't trust us, you don't give us respect, and then you turn into the bad guy. So therefore we act as, like, you know, we don't want to respect you, and we don't want to be nice to you, and we don't want to like cops, and, you know, because we feel like a lot of you don't trust us. So why are we going to have respect for you and treat you well, you know, when you don't treat us with the right respect? So that's what I wanted to add.
Thank you. Very well said.
Hi, my name is Madhu, and I'm a sophomore at Monte Vista. I kind of have a positive experience and a negative experience. A negative experience was when I went to a restaurant with a couple of friends. We were, like, waiting at we had to wait for a long time. I mean, there were people who came after us, and they let them in. And we were just waiting there for, like, 2 hours, and then finally we were just, like, really mad, and we left. But I came to the restaurant, like, 2 weeks later with my parents, and I was in, like, in 2 minutes. And they just, like, gave us a quick seating, like, position, like, 2 minutes. And I was just, like, surprised. I was like, whoa, I mean, when I go there with a group of friends, they don't really care as much to get us a place to sit. But when I go there with my parents, it's a lot more different because I have an adult with me, and they can trust me or something. And the kind of positive experience was with the law enforcement. I call India, because I'm from that country, I call my cousins a lot. And when I dial the number, it's 01191, and I accidentally dialed 911 once. And my mom wasn't home, and it was only me and my dad. And I called, and then I hung up, and my dad was like, what's wrong? I was like, oh, I kind of dialed 911. And he's like, call them back and tell them nothing's wrong. I was like, okay. And then I call them back. They're like, are you positively sure nothing's wrong? I was like, yeah. They're like, who is with you at home? I was like, my dad and my little sister. So they're like, they make sure everything's right, and they hang up. And like 10 minutes later, there's like 2 cops standing at my front door, and they're like, we just came to make sure that everything's right. I was like, yeah, that makes me feel a lot better that I'm valued, and if something happens to me, people really care, and that, you know, it just gives me a warm feeling.
Thank you. Good story.
Hi, my name is Graham. Sorry, I'm loud. I go to Monte Vista. I'm a senior this year. About the parking issue, I don't drive myself, but a lot of my friends do. And I thought that the streets where students often park is that county owned? I thought that it was.
They're city streets.
Okay, well, I don't quite understand why the parents and the surrounding neighbors are why they have control over why people park there. You know, it doesn't quite make sense to me that I mean, if adults could park there, right? I mean, like during school hours.
There's permit parking close to schools in order to allow the homeowners to have a space in front of their house. But it keeps getting extended and extended. And the pilot program was that there would be one permit for the homeowner and one for the school to assign to a student. And that's the one that we liked and thought was working very well. And then found out from the community they didn't like it very much either. And believe me, they stormed this room numerous times. And so now that is a what's the word I'm thinking for, Rick? It's a voluntary program. So you can participate in that or not as a homeowner.
Okay. Yeah.
Hi, my name's Haley. I'm a senior at Monte Vista High School, and like Rosalie mentioned earlier, I've had great experiences with adults. Working with them over the summer, I worked in an office too, and you get a lot of respect when you're in a position where other adults have put you there. By being hired by an adult, you know, I can do the job, so I get respect through that. But I do have one negative experience. My family and I have a favorite restaurant in the area, and I've been there many, many times with my family, gotten great service, in and out, you know, treated very nicely by the people there. And I went with 3 other friends one night. We wanted to go get some good food, so we walked in, and we had to wait a little bit longer, but, you know, we didn't think anything of it because maybe they were having a busy night. And then we sat down, and we had to wait a while before the waitress came to help us, you know, get our food in order. But when she did come and we were trying to order, she, you know, stopped us and said, no, before you buy any food here, you have to order at least $8 of food per person. And that was kind of weird because I'd been there with my family, I don't know, you know, 20 times in the past years. And I've never had that rule imposed on me before. So we gave her kind of a weird look. I said, you know, what do I have to do? And she's like, well, you have to buy at least $8 of food per person if you want to eat here. And so we were kind of like, okay, you know, we're pretty hungry. We had waited quite a while by that point. So we, you know, ordered our food. It took a little bit longer to come. The service was a little bit slower. It was just kind of a bad experience that makes you feel like just because I'm a little bit younger, you know, you assume that I'm not going to order enough food from your restaurant to get you, you know, give you business or something. I know there are people who order, you know, just water and the free chips or whatever, you know, so I felt really not so special when I ate that night.
Thank you. I just want to acknowledge Harry Betancourt, who just came in. Harry's one of the people from the high school district who first brought this project to my attention.
Okay, my name is Sal. I'm from Homestead, and I took the liberty of making a little bit of a survey last week, and about 90 students responded to it. And most of the experiences that I got that were negative experiences were mostly from department stores, malls, and such. And like she had a story earlier about how her friend was followed around, and I had a lot of those. Just people being in line and then having adults behind them, and so the clerks just don't pay any attention to them and they go right to the adults behind them, just being ignored. And so I think at least the bigger issue that we have, at least as far as kids not being respected as much, is more at the stores where we're expected to buy things and we're like they might think that we're gonna steal different things. So I think that's one of the bigger problems that we have. And one of the some of the positive things that I got were a lot of students also at the stores where they felt good about when they left was because the clerks, you know, gave them a smile, said, "How are you doing?" Or other kids would walk down the street and adults would just greet them and say hi, or just give them a little smile. So I think that's the littlest things make a big deal for us, at least. Like I know I've been smiled at a lot before when I just walk down the street, and that just makes me feel a whole lot better. And so I think little things like that could help.
Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Innie, and I'm a sophomore at Homestead High School. And I have something to add regarding to shopkeepers being disrespectful and being skeptical of people our age. I just want to say a lot of times me and my friends go to stores and we try to be really nice to the shopkeepers. We say, we smile at them, we say hi, and they just treat us like garbage. And a lot of times we have been, you know, we felt provoked to do something bad. So I just want to say, I mean, if we get, you know, about the smile, just, you know, then giving us a smile and being courteous, I mean, you know, we won't want to do anything bad. So I just want to say that depending on how they act, we might want to act according to how they treat us. So if we were just given, you know, the respect that we need, then, you know, a lot of the times bad things wouldn't happen. So.
Thank you.
To add to that, we have the 7-Eleven right by our school, and sophomores and freshmen normally walk there because it's really close, and there is a huge line outside of that 7-Eleven. It goes so long, and I know some other schools have 7-Elevens close by, and I'm sure they experience the same problem, but at the 7-Eleven, kids wait in this line for so long because they're only allowed to have maybe like 4 or 3 in at a time, and you have to take off your backpack and just make sure, just everyone there is so like, they're just really watching you. And then when an adult comes, it's just they can just go right by all the line and get in without any hassle or anything. And it's just like we're so much, or they feel that we're so much more at risk for stealing and stuff like that. And it's just an example of how adults really don't trust us. Does anyone?
Thank you. I live by that 7-Eleven, so I know. I know the process you're talking about, and I do know it happened years ago in response to a large amount of stealing, but it's certainly something that I think we should sit down and talk with the owner of that store and with the young people in the neighborhood and see if we can't figure out a system that would be a little friendlier.
All right, my name is Paige. I'm a sophomore at Homestead as well. And I have something positive to say. I just moved to the area from a totally different community, and I believe that this was much more of a problem from where I came from. And they did nothing like this. They didn't have anything, it wasn't, I guess they tried to ignore the problem. And coming here, I noticed that one thing that really caught my eye was how many young people actually work in places that I really didn't expect it. And I thought that's totally great because they relate to you then, and you don't get I haven't experienced so many negative experiences such that these people are saying, So I just want to say that because I really have noticed that, and I really do think that makes a difference when you get younger people working in the community, helping in the community, because then you don't get these negative experiences. So that's just all I want to say, and I appreciate what you're doing.
And one of the things that you're really talking about is stereotyping.
Right.
Because as a few people already said, when adults get to work with you or get to know you, whether it's in a volunteer position or whether it's a paid position, then a lot of those stereotypes go away because they do have them.
I'm Paul from Monte Vista. First thing I'd like to talk about is first, thank you for having this. It's a good chance for us to get our voice heard. One time I was coming back from an orchestra concert in Palo Alto, and I was coming down Foothill, and I noticed this guy was following me, right? He had his high beams on. He was tailgating me, and then every red light, every stop sign, he'd come up so close that his high beams would disappear underneath the back of my car. And then he followed me all the way down Foothill, all the way down McClellan, and then down Bub, close to Kennedy. And then finally I pulled up the stop sign, and then I was going to turn, but he pulled up next to me, started looking at me. Then I turned, and then he turned after me, and then I pulled over. And then he pulled up next to me. And first of all, I have an 81 Volvo, right? My car doesn't really go that fast. It won't, I can't even drive it on the freeway. It won't go past 55. And that's pushing it. And then, so this guy, I rolled down my window and go yes, sir. And he was yeah, you're speeding in my neighborhood. And if I ever see you in my neighborhood again, and if you ever hit one of the kids, I'm going to beep, shoot your beep. And then, so basically he was just yelling at me for speeding. And I didn't even know where neighborhood he was talking about because I was coming on Foothill. And yeah, so I think that was just pretty much at least, I don't think I was going fast at all. It was Foothill, and my car doesn't go that fast. And I just think it was totally out of line to make a verbal threat on my life about it. And the second thing I like to say, I'll make it quick, sorry. I was driving with 3 of my friends down Stevens Creek, and my friend was driving, and I have to admit, he cut this guy off. I admit, yeah, he did cut him off. But then the guy pulled out next to us, and then he started yelling at us, are you blind? What were you didn't you look? Weren't you seeing us? And he said, yeah, I'm sorry, sir. I'll be more careful next time. And then he says, you know what? I think you need to pull over. And he says, no, that's okay. If this guy has, a red Cadillac. He's wearing, jeans, shirt, cowboy hat. No, like, we thought it was just some random guy who was gonna try and like hurt us or something, right? And then he told us 4 times to pull over. We're like, no, that's okay. After 4 times of asking us to pull over, he then decides to pull out his badge and say, okay, now you're gonna pull over. I'm like, okay. So he pulls us over, and then after we stop, then he turns on his siren. I'm like, okay. So he was yelling at us, like, what's wrong with you guys? Like, how come you didn't look behind us? You need to show more respect and blah, blah, blah. And then he asked for all of our licenses and stuff like that. I just think that was, like, he waited so long to show us that he was even an officer. So yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Allison. I go to Monte Vista. I'm a senior. I recently went to a rated R movie at one of the local movie theaters. And I'm 17, so I bought my ticket and it was fine. And then when I was walking into the movie theater, the lady who worked there, she was standing right next to the door. She said to me and my friends, well, how did you get tickets? You know, you're obviously not 17. And we got so mad and we pulled out our little licenses and we're like, okay, you know what? We're 17. We can legally go to this movie. And she just kind of went, and she got really mad. And so after the movie, we went to the customer service place to complain, and they wouldn't even like talk to us. We were just standing there like, okay, we're going to complain about your movie theater, and they wouldn't even talk to us. They'd just like go to all the adults and talk to them. So we got really mad with that. And also, I have another story. This is one of my friends that happened to them. They went to a salon in the area, and well, first their mom had called and asked how much a price would be to get their hair done, and they told the mom one price, and then when she went, it was a different price. It was a lot more expensive. And then the mom went back a few weeks later and talked to one of the women there and said that it was going to be the original price, a lot lower. And so it obviously just showed you that they charged the youth a lot more, taking advantage of them, and that's not cool. Why should we get treated differently?
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. I'm saying again because I just forgot my friend's story. My best friend was gonna work at the store, local shopping mall. We all know where that is. Okay, and then she was hired. she was gonna work at the store, and she was in an interview. I couldn't go in with her, and and she went in, and the manager said, "Do you want to work for us to track down the teenager that will be stealing?" And my friend was like, "What are you talking about?" And it's like, "Yeah, I need a person who's a teenager will point out the teenager who's stealing, shoplifting and everything." And my friend was like, "Well, I'm applying to be someone who's not gonna hide behind my friend's face and say, 'Oh, you're stealing.' I'm gonna tell." And okay, I just lost. Okay, the way the manager talked to her about actually getting her to look for that shoplifting teenagers, I think that was really wrong, first. And second story that my friend really wanted me to tell you guys was that he's a skater at our school. There's nothing wrong with some skaters, but he went to this local shopping mall. Once again, we know where that is. and then he went in, and his friends, they're really nice. Maybe they dress differently, but different than rest of us, like I'm wearing, but they're still nice kids. And when they went in, the security, 6 of them, came, running towards them and say, "Why are you guys in this mall?" And say, "Oh, we're hungry, we're trying to get some food." And they're like, the securities were like, "Okay, you cannot be in here, you guys are skaters." And my friends were like, "Okay, what's wrong with skaters? Excuse me." And, "Oh, you guys will be drinking drugs, alcohol, and this stuff." And my friend said, "Oh, I never did one of those." And then he got really mad that he had to go back in again to make securities mad. I know that's wrong, but he had to do that to rebel, kind of in a way. And then they went downstairs because they want to look for their girlfriend's clothes or whatever. And then the security, 6 of them, ran. They were like, "Oh, there they are." And they were kind of running and chasing through the mall. But they stopped and they said, "Why are you guys back here?" And my friends were like, "Isn't this public place to be? You guys are not gonna tell us to go out because we are a skater and we dress differently than rest of people do." And my friend and the security guards, they had like long conversation, and finally adult came, their mother and father, because they were so mad that they couldn't take it. And when adult came, they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry, that was your child, I'm really sorry." And the way they were treated, I don't know if he's exaggerating because this is second-handed, but in a way, the even action that was taken, that adults came and it completely solved, that was, in a way, from my perspective, not cool, because that can't be happening in Cupertino, especially where everybody is educated to be perfect, in a way.
Okay, thank you. I don't think we are perfect, but let me get this side over here, Rick. I think these people have had their hand up.
Is there people who haven't had a chance yet? Yeah. I want to get to people who haven't had a chance to speak before we get follow-ups. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Drew. I'm a senior at Cupertino. I like to start off on a positive note. Me and a couple friends were at a local restaurant, and there was an elderly couple behind us. And after we were done eating, they came up to us. They stopped us at the door, and they just came up to us and told us, "We're really happy that you guys are gonna grow up and take our places in society, because you guys have changed your mind about young people." So that was kind of like, hooray, you know? But basically, like, because they stereotyped us before, I don't think they've had that many bad experiences, but have that. And then about security in shopping places, I work at a shopping center in a place with very good security, and I see why they kind of follow younger people, because it seems every day I go into work, there is a young person sitting handcuffed to the bench, and maybe they don't have to be as hard, but it is the younger people who are stealing and stuff like that. So I just like to point that out. Also, at a local retail store, I was buying an outfit for a dance at our school, and in front of me there was a kid that goes to our school, and his mom were buying an outfit for him, and the sales associate gave them a discount because there was a sale the next day. But when I went up there, they didn't give me the discount, and I asked about it, and they said, "Well, yeah, it's tomorrow. They were an exception. You cannot be an exception." So I had to pay full price, and I didn't think that was right. Lastly, I serve on the committee for a skate park with the mayor, and all the community around, like, I go and talk to people, and they want places for kids to go, and they want kids to feel accepted. But yet when we say we want to do something in their neighborhood, like put a skate park, they're totally against it. Like, I was in this room one time, and it was filled with people from the neighborhood we were trying to get a skate park, and all they were saying is, "No, it'll bring down our property. No, we know what kids do. No, no, no." They don't give us a chance, but they do want us to have places to go, but they just not where they live. And it seems like it's like that wherever. So I think we kind of have to meet in the middle, and we kind of have to give a little, and they have to give a little. But I think we'll all gain a lot in the future from that. All right, that's all I have to say.
That is discouraging, and I want to thank you, because this is one of the young men who have stuck with us on that committee. It's been frustrating, but it's been a learning experience, and I'm determined that before I'm out of elected office that I'm going to have a skate park somewhere in this city. Hopefully, actually, Valco people are looking at it too, believe it or not, as an alternative site. So, but it's been, you've learned a lot. It's been difficult, but I think the community's learned a lot in the process too.
Hi, I'm Jen again. I'm from a senior at Cupertino. I had two things to say, one positive thing, one negative thing again, and this has to do with our law enforcement. And I remember I'm a cheerleader. I was going to a game, and I was driving there, and I had a stop sign, and I didn't realize that there was a cop in the neighborhood, and I stopped, and I did my thing. I looked, and I went on my way. And about a few seconds later, I was pulled over. And, the officer asked me for my license, registration, and when I asked him why I was pulled over, he told me that I waited 2 seconds at a stop sign instead of for 3. And I was like, okay. And, I was kind of in shock. I was in a hurry, and I was really confused. So he goes away, to write out my ticket, and he had an officer with him in the car also. And not only that, but he asked the officer to come out, and they asked me to step out of my car and wait with the other officer while the first officer went and searched my car. Like, he asked me to go and look inside my car. I didn't know why. I didn't understand why. But he went and searched my car for no reason. And that made me feel really degraded. And I know, number one, if it was my parents driving, they wouldn't have gotten pulled over for waiting 2 seconds instead of 3. And number two, they wouldn't have been asked to step out of the car. And that was just my experience. And one of the positive things, and it was actually this morning, and after that experience, I basically, no offense or anything, but my view of cops hasn't been the best until this morning when I was driving to school and I saw a few police officers, and as I was driving, I looked around and, I caught one of their eyes, and they just smiled at me like a friendly smile, and that made a big difference in the way that I felt that he treated me and in the way that I was treating him, and I smiled back, and that made it all the better, kind of making me feel like I was an equal to him.
Thank you.
Oh. Hi, my name is Niharika, and I'm a senior at Cupertino. I have a positive experience with cops. I participate in youth court, and the respect that they give me, because I'm a lawyer and a member of the jury there, is they treat me with respect. And I noticed that the people that come in to be prosecuted, they also get respects from the cop. And I just think that's a really good thing, because that really doesn't occur. And it's not too many cops, but the cops in that program do a really good job. And I think more people should be aware that cops aren't all negative and bad, and they're just out to get the teenagers. I mean, we are stereotyped, but there are good kids out there, and we shouldn't stereotype them too much.
Thank you. Just so those of you that don't know, Youth Court is a partnership between the city and the courts and the sheriff's department, and including the judge. Everyone there is a volunteer. And basically, correct me if I'm wrong here, guys, you can, as a misdemeanor, you can volunteer to have your case heard in youth court. And students are the attorneys and the prosecutors. It's a wonderful program. I've been involved in it for about 12 years now. And if you are interested, you need to let your school resource teachers, our school resource officers, or your principals know about it. And it's something you can all participate in.
We're starting up right now, so there's paperwork at all your schools, kids. So if you're interested, or get our number, you can call.
There you go. Did you hear that? We're starting up right now, so there's paperwork at all the schools. It's an outstanding program, and it's something you will really learn a lot from.
Hi, my name is Ashley Hill, and I'm a junior at Cupertino High School, and I have a story that is kind of important about police officers. Well, there's this one girl that I talked to, and she previously broke the law, in a couple different times, and the problem was that the police officer treated her very negatively and, with a lot of disrespect, and the issue was later on something happened with her where she needed to report a crime, and she did not feel comfortable talking to a police officer, and that, I think, is a big problem where, when you do need to report something, you need to feel comfortable with the law, and so I think that we need to work on that. And also, I'd like to say, I know one time I was at a shopping center, and I was sitting down, after shopping for a couple of hours, and nervous habit, I tend to rip up little pieces of paper while I talk to people, and a security person came down to talk to me and said, "Excuse me, you're not allowed to do that at this mall." And I'm like, "Okay, that's fine, I'll stop." And then I stopped, and then maybe 10 minutes later, two security people came down, escorted me out of the mall for ripping up a receipt, and I don't know what that was about, but I had a big problem with that. I kind of felt that it was because I was a teenager, and actually I don't really know what else. about why I would be escorted out of a mall for that, but that was a problem I had, so.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm Brandy, and I'm a senior at Homestead High School, and I have first a positive experience that someone actually reminded me of as they were talking. I have a positive experience with law enforcement. I was in the Sheriff's Teen Academy, the fall portion of it last year, and just getting to know the 3 officers and then the several officers that came in and talked throughout the 16-week course, that I got to know the officers on a more personal level, like they became family after a while. And then I have a negative experience that happened about 2 weeks ago. We were in a downtown area where a lot of teenagers go to hang out on weekend nights. And we were in the crosswalk, and we were about to cross the street. And one of my friends is a little boy crazy, I guess you could say. So we all walk across the street, and she runs out in front of us and was hit by a car. And like, she gets up, and she's just completely shocked. Like, she was like, the car threw her 5 feet, and she was just completely shocked and just ran across the street, and she's like, I'm fine, there's nothing wrong. And so then the lady had gotten out of her car that hit her, and the cop pulled the lady over and was like, you can't take your seatbelt off, you can't get out of the car, blah, 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 what are you doing? And yelling at the lady for getting out of her car in the middle of the intersection, or just on the street. And then we were all on the sidewalk waiting for the cop to be finished talking to the lady, and he came over and he was like, what are you kids doing here? It's past curfew, you all need to get out of here. And we're like, and I'm kind of the spokesperson for the group because everyone else is kind of shy, and I'll just stand up and say whatever. So I stood up to the cop and I was like, excuse me, sir, but my friend was just hit by a car and I would like to file a report. And my friend was just like, no, it's okay, I'm fine, I'll be fine. And I was like, no, sir, I'd like to file a report. And so like, he kind of got like this sarcastic tone, and he was like, okay, well then how about you tell me what happened? And like, then he was talking to my friend, and he's like, well, she seems fine. I don't see there's any reason to file a report or anything like that. And I was like, well, what about tomorrow if she wakes up and she's hurting? And he said that, if she's hurting tomorrow, then she can come down to the station and file the report tomorrow. Which at that time he would have no idea who the car was that had hit her or anything like that. And he didn't write down the license plate or take the lady's information or anything like that. And so I wrote down her license plate number and the make and model of the year and everything like that, just because I'm really anal about that kind of stuff. And then it turns out my friend did feel the effects of the accident for the next couple of days, but she's kind of stubborn and still didn't want to file the report. But it was just we felt really rude, or we felt really disrespected by the police officers, because it could have been a serious, injury accident, and he just kind of blew us off because we were teenagers and weren't supposed to be there after 10:30 anyways. But that's about it.
Hey, when you say downtown, are you talking about San Jose, or are you talking, what do you mean by downtown?
The Los Gatos.
Oh, okay. I just was curious because sheriff's departments are going like this because it's not them, So we're trying to clarify. Not that it makes it right, but is that kind of story
no, it was,
you want to follow up
Los
on?
Gatos.
So it's Los Gatos. Thank you. And I wanted to just mention, since you were part of the Teen Academy, that it's nice. I almost feel like I have a couple shills in the audience here. The Teen Academy is another program that I'm really proud of. That how many years has that been going on? 21. What? No. Quite a while. Actually, I went through the community academy way back when I was on the school board, and we now have a teen academy, which all of you can participate in. And the nice thing about it is you basically go through a mini academy, and again, all the people that work there are volunteers, like the two people that are sitting here right now. But they walk you through the kinds of jobs that law enforcement have. For instance, I guess the biggest thing I learned was how dangerous it is to do a simple car stop. And you feel like, you know, some of the actions that a police officer takes when they stop you for speeding or going through a stop sign seem ridiculous. Well, there's a lot of really good reasons for that, because more officers are hurt just stopping someone in a simple traffic violation than any other way. And when you go through that, you begin to kind of understand a little bit what that's all about. And so the Teen Academy is a wonderful experience. And again, if any of you are interested, your school resource officers, your principals, know about that program. And it's a wonderful program to be involved in. And we're starting next week.
My name's Neil, and I'm a senior at Homestead High School. And I have both a negative and a positive thing to say about the community. A few months ago, I was with a friend of mine, and we went with my grandma to help her buy a car at a local car dealership. And as we were walking into the main building to go purchase the car, my grandma remembered that she had forgotten her keys in her car. So my friend and I were running to go to the car to get the keys. And as we were running, one of the car dealership, one of their dealers, got inside one of their cars, sped, cut off right in front of us, slammed on the brakes, and started yelling at us. And he said, "What are you guys doing here? What'd you guys do? Here, stand off on the curb, stand off to the side and wait for me to get some more people." And at first we were kind of shocked by this, because we were just running to get the keys from my grandma's car, and then all of a sudden we see a car pull right in front of us, slam on its brakes, and the guy starts yelling at us. And then after that, we started to get a little more aggressive back, because he wanted us to take a seat on the curb and wait for him to get some more people over there. So we started yelling back at the man, and then basically what resulted from it was it kind of made us feel like almost insignificant, and it just made us like really feel like much smaller than we are, because it just made us feel like less of a person, sort of, that this man, all we were doing is running to get the keys from my grandma, and then there this guy is accusing us of stealing something. And it also created ill feelings towards like local shopkeepers, because now it makes me a little more aggressive if someone starts to be at all like accusatory towards me. It makes me a little more aggressive, which kind of rubs off just generally on the general mood of the community. And then also as a positive note, a couple weeks ago, someone tried to break into my house through the window in my room, and I woke up and I called a police officer. And when they came, I was expecting that they'd want me to go get my dad and talk to my dad, but they were asking me the questions, and they wanted to know what I heard and what I saw, and they were just really respectful towards me. And when they ended up not finding anything, they gave me their business cards and said, if anything comes up again, feel free to call us. And so that just made me feel like, really respected, like an equal adult, and I just really appreciated that.
Thank you.
Sunnyvale.
But he was...
Oh, wait. Hi, my name is Stephanie Erickson, and I'm a junior at Homestead High School. And I was reading through some of these surveys, and I came across this one, and I was kind of shocked when I read it, so I'll read it to you. It says, "My friends and I were in line at McDonald's, and the business people just came in and cut in front of us. When we asked them to move, they said they have more important things than us to do, so they can cut." And when I read that, I was like, no. Like, some people, like, teenagers are really busy people, we have a lot of stuff going on, we could have been late for, like, class or whatever, and I know that's not as big a deal, but when I read that, I was just kind of, like, surprised, and so I wanted to share that with you. And then another thing, I just wanted to add this on a positive note, that I, like, work with a lot of adults, and I think that many adults do have a lot of respect for students, and they give us more respect than, not more respect, but, like, they assume that you're not doing anything wrong until you prove them wrong. And I really appreciate that. And I also think that students are like that too. I think that a lot of students try and, like, reach out to adults. I know I do. And I think that if I don't judge a person until I get to know them. And then if a like teacher, or not teacher, but like an adult treats me bad, that's when I say that was out of line. So I think that we do a pretty good job, and we can't, like, not everyone is perfect and not everyone's going to be nice. There's a lot of people we all know that have bad days and are rude, but yeah, I just think that for the most part everything's pretty good. So thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
My name's Rachel, and I'm a senior at Homestead. There's a couple things. A lot of times our school gets bad publicity for stupid things that certain people do, but what they don't realize is that a lot of the people at our school really do care. I mean, our school has raised, in the past 2 or 3 years, has raised the most money and the most food to go to a local charity, and I think that that's something that we should be recognized for, not the negative things. Also, about law enforcement, I was reading through some of these surveys, and one of them says, it's sad to think that the people that are supposed to be helping and protecting us are actually trying to get us in trouble. From skateboarding to driving in my car, it seems like cops are always after me, and I thought that was kind of sad. And that's the way a lot of people feel. But me personally, I actually had a good experience with the cop when I accidentally hit someone in my car. The woman was really, really mad at me, and she started yelling at me and screaming and wanted my license taken away and all this kind of stuff. And the police officer took her aside and said that, it wasn't really fair to me to be yelling at me, and and I didn't mean to hit her. It was an accident. And so she didn't even apologize, and he felt that it was wrong of her not to apologize to me, and so he made her apologize and everything. And he said that he felt bad, so he didn't take a report, and so because he didn't want it on my record. So I thought that was a really nice thing. So that's it.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Audrey, and I'm a junior at Monte Vista. And I have a few notes to say based on neighbors within Cupertino. I have a good friend that works for the YMCA, the Northwest YMCA, and she worked as a leader this summer, and they had a summer camp, a skateboard camp that happens every summer. And about 5 weeks into the summer camp, a few neighbors had complained saying that it was too loud, that there were problems with it, so they ended up canceling the camp, which then led to effects on the parents, because the parents had to find places to put their kids during the day, during the summer. It was a place for the kids to go and have fun and to get out of, to keep them from getting into trouble during the summer. And so that was canceled just from a few neighbors around the camp that had complained about it. And also another experience that I had about neighbors is that in this past month over at Monte Vista, we held a thing for the football players and all these cheerleaders that came over from Oklahoma. And we held a dance and a dinner for them, and Monte Vista hosted it. And there were complaints from the neighbors late at night, and we ended up canceling it, or not canceling it, we ended up ending it about an hour early. And I felt that, we're trying to do something good. We had been planning for this for a while. We had been working with these people that had come over from Oklahoma, and we were trying to just do a good thing for them. And neighbors complained, which therefore led us youth that was trying to keep out of trouble and trying to do something good to have to end what we were doing.
Okay. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Lauren. I'm a senior this year at Monte Vista, and currently I'm building my career as a social activist, and specifically I work with gay youth in the community, in grassroots organizations all over the place. And as a gay youth, I feel that gay youth teens are doubly discriminated against because we have to deal with those two things. And when I first came out when I was 13, I had to deal with a lot of traumatizing things in my life. I got into fights, I got beat up, I had a lot of gay bashings, and I was discriminated against in several ways at my school and in public. And not just by adults, but by my own peers. But the fact that I had nowhere to go was the problem. There is no, the closest teen center with, the closest community center with a teen support group, let alone a gay youth support group, is in San Jose. And as a 13-year-old without a license, I can't drive yet. I have little access to the bus system. I'm not out to my parents, so I can't get a ride. It's basically I have to survive on my own. And so I think that Cupertino really needs a youth center somewhere close by, because the closest ones are in San Jose. And also, secondly, I work for Rite Aid over on the border of Los Altos and Cupertino. I know that's not the best job in the world, but I get paid for it. But we serve a lot of the older community. A lot of adults come in there, a lot of older adults too. And basically the whole staff is teenagers, because it's just a lot of kids trying to make extra money. And we try and be really polite. We're very good employees. I try and treat everyone with respect that they deserve. And I get treated I don't get treated well at all by most of the adults. Maybe, it's because of my haircut but you smile and you say hi, but they still don't like you. And, there may be problems with the computer system and they still treat you like it's your fault in every way. And I just think adults need to get the idea that we're working to serve them, and the fact that we're trying our hardest to get them something that they want. And they still don't respect anyone, so yeah.
Thank you.
My name's Kimmy. I'm from Monte Vista. This is actually a story about on our campus. There's a security guard there who's really rude to all the students, and probably everyone from Monte Vista knows who I'm talking about. But there's a couple of incidences where it was concrete things that she did. My friend, who's actually a black person, and there's another friend who's white, and they were both wearing bandanas on the same day, and I guess bandanas are against the dress code now. I'm not really sure why that is, but she told my friend who was black to take it off, and she didn't do anything to the white girl. And so she went and talked to the assistant principal about that, and she said that she wouldn't be here this coming year, so not to worry about it, and she's back again. And so they did nothing about that, and I thought that was pretty discriminatory and bad. And then another story, me and Allison were actually, on the first day of school, they have a period for ASB card sales, and we had bought ours already on the early bird sale day. And so we went up to her and we asked if we were allowed to leave campus to go get a drink at Starbucks or something, because our friends were all leaving around her. And she told us that no, it was against the rules, and it is a closed campus, so it is against the rules. But all of our friends left, and they came back, and they didn't get in trouble at all, so we thought that was kind of wrong. And just in general, she's really rude to the students, and one of my friends got in trouble, and she told her oh, this is a nice way to meet you, and she's just really rude and doesn't respect them at all. And there's another security guard at our school, and everyone's friends with him, and he does his job, and he gets people in trouble, but he's really cool, and people talk to him and say hi and stuff, But she's just not like that at all, and so I think she just needs to respect the kids. She can still do her job and have a certain amount of respect for us as well.
Thank you. What school did you say you were from?
Oh, Monte Vista, sorry.
I didn't know Monte Vista had a closed campus. Is that new this year? Didn't you? Oh, okay. Because that was one of the suggestions that came up, is that we should close the campus at lunch, and that would take care of the parking issues.
I don't think so.
Not real popular with the students, but very popular with the neighborhood. We're going to probably give about another 5 minutes, and then we're going to take the last 20 minutes to kind of talk about next steps or what we can do to help.
Okay, my name's Ulysses, and I go to Monte Vista High School. And I just wanted to say that, I came here, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what this was going to be. But somebody I talked to before said, listen to what everybody has to say and then say something different. And it's kind of hard because everything revolved around the same idea that was the mood of everybody. And it elevates pretty high, not just in the community, but as human beings, how we all act towards each other. And there's always these little things there may be some awkwardness, or just like Rosalie was saying, she was saying that just a smile will help, and a lot of people said that. And that's true, because the mood that you have reflects upon people, and it can spread. Bad moods spread and good moods spread. So I just was thinking, if everybody was just kinder to one another, and we could all just promise to do that, then it would spread and everybody would be nicer. And it may seem like a lost cause and really radical, I'm a hippie or something, but I'd really like to see that happen, and that's all I wanted to say.
Well, if you're a hippie, I'm really bad because I'm sort of known as the hugging mayor because I hug everybody. And I'm a great believer in exactly what you just said. You know, you never know the person whose shoulder you touch or the smile you give them. It may be the only one they got that day. In some cases, it could be the only one they've had, you know, all month. And it can make a profound difference. So I think you're right. The way we treat each other is something we control and we have power over. We don't always have power over everything, but that one we definitely do. It's a good idea.
Hi, I'm Sylvia, and I'm a senior at Monte Vista. I have two experiences, one positive and one negative. I'll start with the negative so we can end on a positive note. I was actually going to the movies with my friends. We just watched the movie, and we were coming out, and the person who actually takes the tickets and gives you the direction where the movies are, actually, she saw us coming out of the theater, so we were done with the movie and we're gonna go home. But then we needed to go to the bathroom before we left. So I go back in to see if I could actually go into the bathroom, and there's this lady in front of me, and she didn't actually have a movie ticket because she was there to pick up her daughter. So she's telling the lady, oh, I need to go into the movie theaters to go pick up my daughter. She's like, oh, okay, go and, you know, go pick up your daughter. So I was like, oh, yeah, can I go in too? Because I have to go use the bathroom. And I knew she knew my face because she was the one who actually directed me. And she's like, well, I sort of need to take your bag. And so, you know, you have to leave that bag and then you have to come back and go get it. And so that actually felt like she thought maybe I was actually going to go into the movies and, like, check out another movie and come back out, which totally felt sort of bad because the lady in front of me had to pick up her daughter, and who knows, she might have gone in to sneak in for a movie too, because we all like movies. Okay, well, that's my one of the positive things with the law enforcement, I was on my way to church, and actually totally forgot while I was driving that I had to merge into another lane to go to the junction to connect to a different freeway, and I had my changing lane was a little too, I actually sort of cut off the person in back of me, and behind that car was a cop car. Bad luck, but so the cars in back of me all stalled, like hit their brakes, and then I didn't know, and then I was driving, and then like I actually got pulled over by the cop, and I was like, oh my god, okay, I did not have my license for a year, I'm so gonna get dead by my parents. So then I was like already in this little panic stage, like going, so the officer's like, oh, can I see your license and registration? So I was like, okay, and I gave him my license, and I couldn't find the insurance and registration that quick, so I was like, oh my god, am I gonna get like handcuffed because I can't find my registration or my or my insurance? So like he was totally cool. He's like, oh, maybe you should check that one, or maybe you should check that one. So I actually found it, and then I gave it to him. He wrote the ticket up, and then he came back, and I was like, oh my gosh, okay. He's like, oh well, so I had to issue this, but do you need your help? Do you need any help getting back on the freeway? And I just thought that was sort of nice, although I didn't really like that he gave me the ticket. I knew that, like, even that courteous likeness, that he would show me the way back to the freeway, although, like, it just proved that, like, he was being courteous and he was doing his job. So even though, like, people, the effect we might get is, like, not the way we want it to, if, like, we'll understand, like he's doing his job, but he's showing it in a, like, respectful way, and we totally would understand that.
Thank you. I'm going to probably have to stop.
Yeah. Is there anyone who hasn't had a chance to speak that would like to contribute? Oh, yeah.
You don't
I think you have to wait.
Okay. We have about 20 minutes because I know many of you are being picked up or need to go somewhere. And we wanted this first opportunity with you to be basically for us to be in a listening mode and to listen to you. And I know some people in here are probably dying to give input, and I'm going to give you a chance to do that. But I don't want to spend a lot of time on that because I really do want to... Better? I do want to talk about next steps and some of the things we can do to help with this, and we want your help with that. I hope this was helpful. So I guess the first thing we need to find out was, is this kind of interaction helpful to you at all? Did you find this valuable to have the opportunity to talk and to come here and speak with us? So, do you want to answer that?
Yeah, I think it's valuable, but I think it'll be more valuable if we can see the after effects of what we've done, like actually see this stuff that we've written down today, like being talked about or steps being taken to further the better of our community.
It's perfect. Gee, I wish I'd written his script. So next steps, that's what we need to talk about. I want to start off just briefly with a few things that I already have kind of in place that I'd like your help with, and I'd like your feedback to tell me whether you think this would be helpful at all. Because we have about 3 things that I've started as a council person, as a mayor, that we're down the road in. One I've already talked to you about, which is a teen summit, a sit down with law enforcement. And as I've listened to you today, you certainly do interact with law enforcement a lot, just in the day-to-day lives. We all do. I think our young people more so because they're around the schools and in the areas you are. So one of my idea, and actually it was my son's idea, who was a Monte Vista High School graduate 2 years ago, 1 year ago, 2 years, I can't remember now. It's just starting his second year at De Anza. That must be a year ago, huh? So anyway, it was his idea after seeing something the Oakland Police Department did. And basically, we're just starting to think about it and to design it. And my goal is to have the young people help us design what this would look like. So I want to just kind of see if that would be of interest to you. And also, maybe, Jeff, you could help with this. If we could just pass out a pad on each side of the room. And if you're interested in being involved in anything, volunteer or in any other ways, the things we talked about, please give us a way to get to you, and we'll keep you in the loop. But this would be a teen summit. Probably we're thinking like maybe a half a day or a few hours. Real casual, where you could get more gutsy about what you've been talking about today. And law enforcement can interact with you on a more personal level about their jobs and you about your concerns. And one of the things I heard a lot about today was profiling. And certainly there are times in law enforcement specifically when that's very appropriate. For instance, if there was just a bank robbery and someone was killed and they heard that the person looked like me, they're not going to be stopping people that look like him. They're going to be stopping people who look like me. And you would want them to, wouldn't you? So there are times when that's appropriate. And then there are times when it becomes a stereotype and abuse. And that's what you are intimating, that as teenagers you feel like that's used to your disadvantage. Those are the kinds of things that we can talk about. So one of the things would be a teen summit with law enforcement. One of the other things that we already have ongoing in tonight's council meeting, it'll be on the agenda, and Therese has really helped with this, is I have wanted to have a teen commission here in Cupertino. And you probably don't know all that much about city government, but we have advisory commissions. The Planning Commission, with Jeff Patno sits on, Parks and Rec Commission, the Library Commission, the Housing Commission, that makes recommendations to the city council. And some of them meet in here, and some of them meet in other rooms. And they take input from the community, and they advise us on issues that fall under them. And I have always felt that we should have a youth commission that advises us on issues like the skate park, the teen center, which I've been trying to get for a long time, our new library, which we're building, and certainly the young people in our community are the biggest users there. Anything that has to do with youth issues, it would come to the Youth Commission first, and they would make recommendations to the City Council. We're talking about that tonight. I've talked to Harry about that before, and the superintendent of the high school district, what that should look like. That's on the agenda tonight to go to the next step. And I think that's a way for the young people in our community to be a part of city government, to give input. So I kind of want some feedback from you on that. And there was one more that I'm losing my thoughts right now that I can't think about. It'll come to me. So what kinds of? Oh, I know what it was. It was a. I've always wanted to do a teen job fair. And I've talked again to the high school about this, because all of you talking about jobs that you have, and that's one place where you connect with adults in a positive way. And my thought has always been, we have all kinds of businesses in this city that say they have a hard time getting employees, and then we have young people who want jobs. And so I thought bringing a teen job fair to the high school campuses in the spring, have the companies come on your campus, People can come and help you fill out applications if you need that. People like me or HR consultants, we can help with that. And actually have a job fair on the campuses to match the jobs and the employers to give you an opportunity to get good jobs and to interact. So those are the three things that are kind of in the pipeline right now from the city's perspective. What kinds of actions do you see happening that would help you to feel more empowered and to feel more part of the city? Yeah.
I think those things that you mentioned are really great, and I really appreciate you just taking the effort to brainstorm these kind of things for us. But even before we go that far, I think personally a main message that I would want to try to get across to the community is just to be a little more tolerant, because like a little bit of tolerance can go a long way. I think all of us here are very open-minded, and the experiences we shared were all personal experiences that we had, but we were very eager to share our positive and negative experiences, and it just shows that if they were just a little bit more open-minded, a little bit more tolerant, then we'd have so many more positive experiences to share. And so this is just to the community, like people, like whether they're neighbors, shopkeepers, movie theater people, law enforcement, and yeah, so that's what I want them to know.
So maybe even if we could forge something like come meet the young people in our community, and we could sponsor something from the city, perhaps like we do a community congress each year and different things like that. Just a chance to get to know each other. Is that kind of what you're thinking about? Okay, who else? I will. Okay, who else?
I also wanted to say to the community that I think that it's so cool that there's a lot of teenagers here, but I know that a lot of adults were invited, and I'm kind of discouraged to see that we're making the effort out there to get our thoughts out and our opinions out, and they're not here. I mean, I appreciate the adults that are here, but and they're not here, and that's kind of like we're trying to meet you halfway, but if you don't give us 50% too, then we can't really do anything. So if we did have a teen summit, I think that it's even so much more important to have the adults there, because we can talk amongst each other and tell each other our experiences, but it's not going to really make a big effect if we don't get the adults in here to understand too.
I think maybe you were misinformed. The adults we invited are here. We specifically did not invite a lot of adults because we wanted this to be your opportunity to speak yourself to the community, and we have a representative from each of the areas. So that probably just was a little misunderstanding. We thought you'd be more comfortable being free to speak in this venue, at least the first time. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, the chamber. Unfortunately, the chamber has something else going on at this time, but believe me, the chamber membership, I know all of them, and you're a member of the chamber too. I'm also a member of the chamber. Probably all of us here are. So you do have chamber membership here, and they will get a copy of this tape, and they are very interested. In fact, one of the things I was thinking, if it would be helpful to you, would be to have a sit down with the. You all kind of talked a lot about the mall, and since there's only one in this town, I guess. But the manager of that mall is also a member of the chamber, and we know him well, and I know he would be happy to have he and perhaps his shop owners meet with you. So that's another thing, if that's something that would be appealing to you, that we could pull together. Someone else?
I was thinking that it's really hard for youth to do stuff at night because of curfew, and a lot of times that our parents will be home sleeping and they don't want our friends to go to our houses because we'll disturb them. And I've gotten kicked out of a lot of places. Like we go to coffee shops and get kicked out because it's after curfew. And I was thinking that maybe if we came up with a teen center or something to that effect, where we could just go maybe till 12 o'clock, hang out, grab some coffee, listen to music or something, just so we have somewhere to go. So, yeah.
Boy, we've sure been working on that for a while, haven't we, Therese? We're trying to get that together, and that's a very good idea. And if you're interested in helping us with that, be sure to put your name down. But it is a definite need in this city. I'm going to ask some of the people that were here if they'd like a few minutes just to respond and talk to you about what they heard. Perhaps one of you from the Sheriff's Department would like to speak.
Well, first of all, I want to thank everybody for coming and taking the time. I know that your school ended a couple hours ago, so it just shows that when you come, that shows that you care. And I just wanted to say a few things about some. I can't address everything that was brought up tonight, but I'm glad that I had a chance to hear them first, and that'll give me time to prepare next time we meet. Just to reiterate what the mayor said, we have a lot of programs where we outreach to you as kids and as teens in this community. We have the Teen Summit, which that's going to be one of the best things I think that this community has done in a long time with law enforcement and the kids. And we might want to think about maybe doing that same type of thing with the businesses and the Chamber of Commerce type of thing, because it sounded like there were just so many complaints about them. I'm just trying to point that out. But yes. And we have the youth court, teen academy. These are all things where we can do, and we can show you how we do our job, so you can better understand why sometimes some things happen to kids and why they're happening. That way, if you understand them, then you have a better idea of why certain things happen. But I think the Teen Summit is going to take care of the other aspect. It's been a long time since I was a kid. So there are probably things that you do now as teenagers that I didn't do when I was a teen, or you may act differently, or you have different ideas than when I was younger. So I think that's almost a way for the teens to reach out to the law enforcement. And so that is, I think, a great way to meet halfway. Just remember, though, that keeping these things and talking about them amongst yourself, like the things that happen when you get stopped by a cop and things go wrong. Remember that you have school resource officers at your school, and they're approachable. You can talk to them. I'm always here at City Hall. You can reach me through the website. You can reach Eileen through the website. We all have email addresses. I spend the first 2 hours every morning answering emails from the community. People ask me questions about all sorts of things. I don't get that many from kids. And I would think that in this society where the kids are more internet ready than most adults, that I would be getting more from kids. So maybe they're just not aware. And maybe I need to look at a way to get that out to you at the schools, because I get a lot of questions from adults of what should I do about my kid. Well, you guys can call me too. That's what you can do about those parents. And as far as the traffic concerns, the people that were working on the Monte Vista, who was that working on the Monte Vista, getting the parking regulations and a partnership with the community? This is government. Don't give up. That's what happens in government. It may take a while, and you may be working for the kids that are going to be coming into the class next year. But think of it as a positive way. When you leave, and you may not have the parking now, but if you can get the parking for kids that are coming into as freshmen, sophomores, and juniors in the next few years, then you've accomplished something. You may have missed out on the parking yourself, but at least you worked at it. And I think that was about it for now.
Thank you. That's a very good point, to keep at it. Government works slowly because we have to do everything in public, and we have to call meetings, and we have to have a certain amount of time between postings and when we have them, and it is frustrating. It takes a long time, but one person can make a difference. I'll tell you, often a group that ends up getting something changed in this chamber was led by one person who was passionate about something and kept at it and at it and at it and at it, and got some people that shared their beliefs and just kept coming forward and talking about it. So it is important, and it can happen. Did you want to speak for the high school district?
Or myself. On behalf of the Fremont Union High School District, I'd like to thank the mayor for hosting us today and having you here to talk. I've had the privilege for the last 34 years of working with the finest human beings on this earth. And when I first read the Cornerstone information and the breakout data that showed that this area had such a low regard for how the adults treated the children, it really bothered me. I've come to work in this city for 32 years, and I've not seen that in the same way. And so it really got to me. It affected me, and I'm starting to hear some things that tell me that there's a reason for it being that way, and they're very real reasons. The fact that we don't have a city center, a place where kids can hang out. We don't have a place for youth who are gay or lesbian or bisexual to go and be safe. We don't, I think, even have a place for any children to go sometimes to be safe. And I know that's one of the issues that's very dear to your heart, and you're working very hard on. And I think we all need to commit to those kinds of things. show me the money, is what you said just a few minutes ago. And to a great extent, that's what we're talking about. An incident like some of your incidents, like specifically like your incident. I sat in a local restaurant for an hour one day and I watched 10 young boys come in. They were filthy dirty from playing in a soccer game, and they kicked their shoes off outside the door before they came in because they didn't want to track the dirt in. And they all ordered, and they all had a great time, and they talked, and they laughed, and they giggled, and they cleaned up their dishes and put them away and left. And when they left, an old couple that was sitting near us said, "Oh, those damn youth. All they do is make noise and make life miserable." I didn't understand that. It was just exactly what you would hope our young kids would do, and yet people saw it differently than I did. People see you differently every day. People are afraid of you, and you heard that a couple of times, and there's no reason for them to be afraid of you. We have a long way to go, and this is how we start it, and it's that one person at a time with a passion who's willing to step up and say, we need to do something. So again, thank you for being here. I really enjoyed listening to you, and I think we need to do a whole lot more of this to make this work.
Thank you, Bill. Therese, do you want to talk a little bit about the city and some of the things you've heard? Therese is the head of our Parks and Recreation Department.
Well, thank you all for coming. I want you to know that we are in the process of planning for a new sports center for Cupertino. I think that's something you might want to get involved with because it is something that's budgeted. The council has budgeted the same amount of money for the sports center that they budgeted for the senior center. And when it's rebuilt, that whole Memorial Park complex, which has the community center and the senior center, will have another new building out on Stevens Creek. And what that building is will be determined largely by community input. Right now it's basically a tennis and fitness club. It doesn't mean it has to stay a tennis and fitness club. Obviously there will always be a large number of people interested in having tennis, but we have, if you can believe it, 48 tennis courts, public tennis courts in this community, 18 at that site. We have no skate park. Now, how many skaters do you think are going to be at these meetings if you don't all get organized and show up? So this is a project that's very real, that is underway right now. The Parks and Rec Commission starts working on it on the 20th, and they're having a big community workshop on October 11th. Call the Parks and Recreation office and get the details and get organized and come, because this is happening right now. It'll probably break ground next year, and it's something that you can have a very, very huge impact on. Or you have numbers, so get organized. I encourage you to do that. Also budgeted, as you know, is the skateboard park. It's fully funded. The council's been very generous. It doesn't have a place to be, and I think it's something we can work on. Hopefully the compact now Hewlett-Packard site will be the site, but if it isn't, we have to start working on Plan B, and it's probably going to take a lot of work with the neighborhood to get it to be accepted as part of a neighborhood, and we'll need your help on that. And finally, Sandy mentioned the Youth Commission, the Teen Commission, whatever it's finally called. The council will be discussing that tonight and what its form will be, but once it is formed, the members of that commission will be appointed by council, and they'll have the same kind of voice that any other commission has. So I hope you get involved. Thanks a lot for coming.
That's going to be very, very important to become involved in. And just so you know, we can give you the phone number here. What is the park? Oh, she's going to bring stuff. But you can always call City Hall. Just call City Hall, and you'll get a local operator and say, I want to talk to the mayor. I want to talk to the Parks and Rec Department. I want to talk whomever. I want to talk to that tall, nice sergeant. And by the way, you can come in here anytime, and you can find Skip or someone like him in the front office here to deal with some of the issues you're talking about. And I wish you would do that. A lot of times if you come right away and talk to us right away, it's a better chance for us to bring you and the person you've interacted with together. Did you have something else?
About the Teen Commission, I'm about to turn 18, so can I still be a part of that? because I know some other people are probably going to turn 18 pretty soon.
We're going to work on that tonight, and I don't believe we have a restriction on that. I would hope not.
Right. The way it's proposed. Now, again, what I'm about to do here is something you absolutely should never do, and that's pass something like this out before the council's approved it. But when am I going to have an audience like this again? So I'm going to go ahead and do it, but if you are interested and you turn it in and something's been revised, I might have to get in touch with you and tell you something's been revised, and we might have to redo it. But basically, the way we're proposing it be set up is that it be open to anyone who hasn't yet graduated from high school. So once you've graduated from high school, you're in a sort of different stratosphere, but until you've graduated from high school, you're eligible. So I'm going to go ahead and pass these out, but be advised this isn't something I should do before the council's approved it, but I'm going to do it anyway. And Sandy's going to say it's okay.
Not only that, if you're really interested, you can come tonight. It is on the agenda under consent, which means we usually pass, there's like, I don't know how many on there tonight, Carol, 24 or something like that. We usually pass those with one motion, but I will be pulling this one for discussion. So if you really feel strongly about it, you can come. We start at 6:45 in this chamber, and that part of the city council meeting will not take too long. You are welcome to stay for the whole meeting, and of course, periodically, if you do show up to do that, that's a very powerful thing to do also. Is there anyone else that wanted to give input before we end?
Wait, I just have a short comment that she made it once, but I just want to remind to the community and to everybody. Cupertino is one of the well-known city, Bay Area, or state because we have the most fabulous school that's provided by city and teachers. But as she said, we are the one who's doing it. I'm not saying that not teachers, but we are the one who's creating that. And if community do not support it in any reason whatsoever, like skate park, I know from my parents for sure, there's like, they want to get involved in community, but they are not sure because our neighborhood is so against teenager that my parents do not want to feel like outsider in a way. And I know all the community residents want a place for teenage to hang out and not cause trouble. That's not, a shopping mall that's nearby here, but in a way, like where it's safe and approved by city and everywhere. And in order for that to happen, I think all the community and teenagers should come all together as one and be united in a way, because not only you as a mayor can do it alone. Sheriff and us as a teenager and a resident and business owner has to come as one to do this entire thing and work it towards for next year or whoever that will be. So.
Thank you. So to summarize, it looks like some of the things that you would like us to work on together, and I emphasize together, because none of this will happen in isolation, and I hope all of you will stay involved. My business cards are up here, and before you leave, please come and grab one. And like Skip, I love to get emails from young people. Also, the mayor's office is your office. It's not my office. It's right down the hall here. And I'm happy to see you at any time and to work with you both in the community on a volunteer basis if you want to do that, answer your questions, and get you involved. So it looks like the idea of the Teen Summit with the Sheriff's Department was very positive. Is that correct? How many people want to work on that with us, either helping us form it and or be there? Good. And I hope you wrote that down for me. If you didn't, please call and let us know. It looks like, the Youth Commission, the Teen Commission, was that something everybody thinks would be of value? Okay, good. So the Teen Commission, I'll take that to the City Council tonight and let them know how you feel. How about the job fair? Did any of you think that was a good idea? Raise your hand if you think the job fair is good. How many of you would work with me on making that happen? And by the way, the Chamber of Commerce would be the other partner, so it would be a good time to get involved with the Chamber. Okay, and this is good planning because I would see it happening in the springtime. In time for summer jobs. And what else did we end up? You also talked about maybe some kind of a teen gathering with the community members, something like we're doing here today, only in perhaps a less formal setting, or something like we're going to do with the Sheriff's Department, but with the community in general. Yes, Rick.
We have coming up on October 5th the Community Congress, which is open to the entire public. It is, and everyone here in this room would be very, very welcome. One of the things I see as a public information officer, my job is essentially communications. And the dialogue that we see in this room and in many public forums is not usually as good as what we have seen and what you guys have contributed today. So I think it's an important step towards making a difference is for you guys to show up. You get dinner. It's Friday, October 5th. And I think we might even have some handouts here. It's from 1 in the afternoon until 8. Maybe the school can cut you some slack so you could attend, Harry. And your input would be very, very valuable. Thank you.
Actually, I want to double that, and I'm embarrassed because I'm the host of that, and I should have even thought about it. This is the 5th year we've done this. It's called a Community Congress, and this year it's called Voices and Visions. And we'll be doing it at Quinlan. And I would like to ask the high school district, and if you could take that message to Joe Hamilton for me, I'd appreciate it. We really would like to have a lot of our young people represented. It goes from 1 o'clock until 8:30 at night, so I know a lot of you could come after school. If we could get a number of you there even before that, that would be great. We'll be starting out just talking about last year's Community Congress and what kinds of things people came up with. And I will just tell you, the major subjects were housing, transportation, education, a town center, all the things kind of you've been talking about. And then we will break up into groups or tables and have people come back and talk to us about what their interests, concerns are. This year, we'll give some feedback from the council. We'll have a dinner break. You'll go back and forge some other ideas and come back with some solution suggestions for us. It is the most powerful input we get on an annual basis to the city council. And we look at it, those of us who are already elected, those of us, there's a campaign going on right now, so there'll be new people elected also, and they will be there. This is a really unique chance for the young people, the young adults, to have something to say. And we will be doing the table arrangement, so we'll be trying to place, we've reached out to our senior community too, we'll be trying to place you at various tables to give input. So if there's any way we can reach out through the high school district, Harry and Bill, I would greatly appreciate that. And you can call Rick. He has all the information on that. So what did I miss on there, Linda? The mall manager. Would you, it sounds like it might be in order for us to somehow collaborate with a meeting. And what I'm going to do is get back with the Chamber of Commerce right away. And it may not just be the mall manager, but it might be nice to do something at that mall with all the owners of the businesses there. Certainly we can talk with him about it. And the Chamber of Commerce would probably be interested too. So they will all, by the way, be at the Community Congress on October 5th. So all of those people will be there, including the manager of that mall. A teen center and a safe place to be. How many people would like that to happen here? Okay, well, stay with us. Get on board. Help us. And you know what? You are the unheard voices. You need to come to some of these venues and let us know about that. If you can come on the 5th and say that over and over again. Periodically come. You can come to a meeting of the City Council. We meet on the 1st and the 3rd Monday. And there is a place at the very beginning. We meet at 6:45 for, where's one of your cards, Rick? On the back door there, you see those yellow cards? There's a place on our agenda for oral communications, and that's for anybody can talk about anything that is not on the agenda. We can't take action, but we can take input. And it doesn't hurt periodically for some of you to show up and sign up one of those cards and get up and talk about the kinds of services that you would like to see for the young people in this community, and to talk about a teen center and a skate park and those various issues, just to keep it before the faces of your city council and your community. Our council meetings are all televised, and they're shown over 4 additional times. So I think the community gets to see them 5 times total. So what else was on there? And the skate park. How many of you want a skate park? Yes. Okay. Well, I'm going to learn how to rollerblade before we open it, so I make a fool of myself. I want to welcome you, or thank you all for coming. I am delighted that you came. I hope that one of the things you can do, as Rick talked about communications, the keynote, you can take this meeting back to your campuses, to your communities, to your families, to the places you worship, to the places you play, and let them know that it happened, that we do care, that we do want to hear from you, that we do want you involved, that we do value you, that there is a venue for you, and to please get involved. We will continue on. We'll go ahead and move forward on these things. Hopefully you gave us information how to reach all of you, that you can spread this throughout your schools more effectively than we can do. And I think that is the beginning of a place where we can bring the community closer together and hopefully to have them value the unique people that you are. I want to thank you for coming. You're welcome to stay. We have a long evening. And come back. And if this helped and you want to do this again, let me know. Okay? Thank you.